Good morning, people in the world. How are you? My name is Omar Diaz. Welcome again. Today is Wednesday or Thursday in another part of the world. Welcome everyone to your series called Lights, Camera, On Air. This is a series, this is a live show happening from Showcaser Media Studios in Mexico City. And yes, welcome everyone for episode number 6. Wow, I can't believe it. We made it already to episode number 6. And today we are actually going to talk about a very interesting topic called kickstarting your own creative business. I'm very excited about today's episode because, and actually I wanted to talk about that we are making like a small parenthesis on, as you know, Lights, Camera, On Air. It's a show that aims to connect people that are new to the world of virtual events, broadcasting, and productions. And we, as a media company, we and as entrepreneurs, we wanted to cover this specific theme of how can you transition from the freelancing world, just like doing project-based work, into like building and setting up your own business, because that's actually what we did back in the day. And we wanted to make this specific episode about this theme because we wanted to talk about to those freelancers out there that are very curious. And we know there's a lot of people out there, and especially in these times, that are curious about like, hey, I would like to move to the next step, to the next step in my career. I want to bring this project into like a very consolidated project and business. So that's why we decided to make this episode about how can you kickstart your own creative business. And I'm so excited today, first of all, to have you everyone coming in. Let us know in the comments where are you joining us from. But yeah, if you are a freelancer and you are into this, you're having these questions about how to get started, then this episode is for you. So welcome everyone. Good morning in Mexico City, good evening in some places in Europe. And good night in Asia, and good night, and good night in Australia, because we know there are some people out there in the world looking at this episode live. So welcome everyone. So I would like you to get to know a bit of the people who are working with me to bring this episode, to bring this series happen. So let's take a look. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Omar Diaz. I am the founder of Showcaser Media, and I'm the host of this show, Lights, Camera, On Air, and I'm very happy to have you join today. As well, we have backstage, we have Jorge. Jorge is the creative director at Showcaser Media, and he's also responsible of all, if you see all those things back, like the switcher, there's like a lot of cables out there. I don't know what's happening back there, but I know that Jorge is doing an amazing job right there to bring this episode available, to make this episode available for everyone out there in the world. So Jorge, good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm fine.
He says,
Thank you.
he says he's fine. Good morning, Jorge. Also, we have two amazing people that are joining us remotely from the north of Mexico. Their names are Danny and Ana Pau. How are you? Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say hello to the camera. And yes, Danny and Ana Pau have been helping us for almost 2 months already into bringing, into designing how this show should look like. Not just like the image of it, the branding of it, but also the promotion side of it, the marketing side of it. So if you have seen me post a lot of things about Showcaser Media, about this episode, Danny and Pau have been helping us massively from like remotely to make this happen, right? So huge appreciation for both of them that are helping us. Amazing. So Danny and Pau are also helping us with the community, like building a community in YouTube. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments that you want to ask or tell us during this episode, Danny and Pau will help us bring this information to us. So please write your questions, write your comments. Let us know what would you like to see in the future. Let us know if there is something that is happening with the stream. Again, feedback is always welcome, so just let us know if there is anything we can do for you today. So, today I'm very excited to tell you something that happened over this week. So, last week we had 93 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And today we have 101 subscribers. So we broke the 100 subscribers in our YouTube channel, which is a huge milestone for us because that was actually one of the milestones we had when we came up with this idea. So 100 subscribers, we did it, team, amazing, and I'm so proud of you. We have been doing amazing. So if you are there and you still haven't subscribed, so again, the invitation, because now our next milestone is 1 million subscribers. 1 million subscribers. I promised my team that we will reach 1 million subscribers by the end of this series. So we have 4 episodes left. So if you are there and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I don't know how people say it, but just push that notification bell and hit the like button. I don't know how these things work, but amazing. It's so good to have you join this community of curious people about these topics that we're talking about. All right, moving forward, we have this segment that is about letting you know, as the audience, what is it that we've been working on recently. So this week, we just recently launched our after movie of this event we hosted a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, it's already available in our YouTube channel. So this after movie kind of highlights how does it look backstage when we are hosting a live event from the studio. And we really wanted to make a story of the event itself. We wanted to make a story of how things look when we are doing these things live. So we had amazing fun working with Isaac in Mexico, the national team. They came to have their conference, a lot of sessions for a couple of days to over 9,000 people. I mean, we didn't have 9,000 people, we had 9,000 views overall. So that was a huge and impressive number for us. We were very surprised actually. So it was a very interesting thing that we did over last week. And we had this video. So if you haven't seen it, it's right there on YouTube, so you can just watch it whenever you want. But today, I'm very excited because we're gonna have a very special guest. His name is Adrian, and he's one of the most talented visual designers, graphic designers out there at his very young age. He's from Romania, and he's the founder of his own creative agency, his own creating company called Dascal Visual. He's going to be talking with me later on about how his journey as an entrepreneur has been, and it's going to be an amazing conversation. Just stay tuned because it's going to be really, really good. Okay, so let's get started with this show. First, as you know, we've been showing the audience, to all of you, the story of Showcaser Media. We've been creating this documentary that is split in 10 chapters. Today's chapter marks the beginning of how Showcaser Media was built. I was mentioning this last week, that the first 5 chapters talk about the context that took us to this idea of how, like, all the things we took into consideration to make this company happen, the inspiration we got, all the things that we wanted to have involved in this concept. So episode 6 talks about the beginning of Showcaser Media, and I'm very excited to show this chapter because it's actually very special for me and for Jorge, because this is the moment where we put all these ideas together and say, okay, let's make this happen. So very excited to present to you chapter number 6 of Perspective, the story of Showcaser Media. It's called Execution. So Jorge, whenever you are ready, just hit the play button. See you later. magic of new beginnings. These years of experience have taught me well. August 2019. I remember coming back home at what used to be my studio and find out things have changed after 2 years living abroad. I realize it's been 4 years already since I started my journey as a video producer, and that the crazy idea I once had to start my own business was now more alive than ever. All of a sudden, you just know it is time to start something new and trust the magic of new beginnings. These years of experience have taught me well. They've helped me expand and strengthen my creative skills. And because I was committed to make it right this time, I decided to get back on the road and test things out myself. I got invited to showcase a conference in the United Kingdom, and I was a bit scared of the fact that it's been a while since I created my last event after moving. But that moment when people start reacting to my videos, that's the moment I knew I was back. Transforming the story of an event into remarkable pieces of content in real time remained as the core idea of this initiative. Having learned from the past, I knew I needed to carefully choose a person to share this journey with. This is where Jorge comes in. I've known Jorge since 2013, as we both studied at the same university. With Jorge in the team, we came up with a list of different names for the company. Our next step was to sit down and start building the business from the ground up. Our business idea was the result of years of experimentation, of understanding that every event has a story to tell, and we knew there was a way to transform these stories into outstanding and memorable pieces of content. Welcome to Showcaser Media Productions. If there is something I can tell you today, is that ideas are worthless without execution. If you have an idea, just go for it. Do not be afraid to start over. It is a chance to build something better this time. Jorge and I were off to a good start. After closing a couple of projects in Mexico City, the time has come to start planning for the new year that is coming. 2020, we are ready when you are. So that was, sorry, just something really funny just happened. So that was chapter number 6 of Perspective. It was called Execution. And yeah, I think that was like a very special episode when we were preparing it, because it made us remember a lot of what happened almost a year ago. Like a year ago, we were having these conversations, we were working on all these things. And it was very good for Jorge and me. It was very special for me to just remember that it's been only 1 year since we started this interesting adventure. So I hope you liked it. We are still 4 chapters left of this documentary. So stay tuned, because we're having amazing things coming in. So let's move to the next segment, which is called Let's Get Hacky. Again, this is a space for us, for you, like to teach you or to give you some of the secrets of the things that we have been doing. We are a video production company. We like to help people to kind of get to embrace the world of productions. So today's Let's Get segment, we're going to be talking about 5 hacks to shoot a video by yourself. And a lot of the times that people have asked me, or like have asked us as a company, I want to make a video, and they are thinking, I mean, a lot of things, people just don't like think that the world of making a video is very complicated. And they think that making a video takes a long time, it's very difficult, and people just get scared just by the idea of it. When talking about the kind of project that they wanna, that these people wanna do, that they wanna create, we often find out that it's just a very simple idea that can be like very simple, with very simple execution. And most of the time we end up providing assistance to these people, kind of to embrace them into like, hey, you don't need a team of 5 people or like 10 people to produce this idea that you have. You can actually do it by yourself. And this is a conversation we'll be having with a lot of people. We're trying to embrace them to, hey, just take some things, very simple things that will really help you prepare that video. So today's hacks, today's Let's Get Hacky section is about that. We're gonna actually help you to shoot your first video by yourself. So the first hack that we have for you is that when preparing when you are about to shoot yourself by yourself, the first thing that you need to have into consideration is the background. So here are some tips that we have for you. So backgrounds help the audience get immersed in the story that you want to tell. Okay, so whether you want to create a video for your company or your office or a video like this one, you have to take into consideration what the background look like or can look like. So here we have some 3 very important ideas, which is the first one. Your background has to be authentic, right? It can be, and even nowadays, it can be the space at your home. So just find a place at home that looks very homey, it looks very, it talks a lot about who you are. The second thing is you have to avoid distractions. So probably you have like a dog or like something that's just walking around behind you. So try to put those things away, because you don't want people that when they see your video that they are gonna get distracted by something that is happening on the background. Or the third one that we actually are doing right now, which is we are having seamless background paper like this one. We have some different colors here at the studio, and it helps the audience put more attention into your subject. So in this case, me, right? So when preparing your first shooting, consider the background in the first place. The second point is the gear. So what equipment are you gonna be using for your video? And here we have some ideas for you. So first, you need to start with your camera. So ideally, a camera like this one, you may have already like a DSLR camera, right? So this is a camera that can help you shoot video. And if you don't have actually a camera like this one, well, it's 2020, and by now you should already have a phone, an iPhone, yeah, I will just call it an iPhone, but you know what I mean. With a very good camera at this point. So it's 2020, cameras are actually very good and very advanced. So there is no excuse now not to shoot your first video with the camera that you have at your disposal. The third point is your microphone. So whether you have a microphone like this one, where you can just plug into your phone, and just use your voice recorder from your phone. You can also get these shotgun mics that are gonna be able to just plug in your camera or your phone, and it's actually also gonna help you do the work. And it has to be at a very considered distance so that the quality is as best as possible. And we also, I think I skipped this one, which is very important, a tripod. So whether you're using a camera or your phone, it's now even it's more possible now that you can have a steady shot that is not shaky. So just by having a tripod like this one, it's gonna be very useful. Here, you can see this, okay? And most importantly is you need a good source of light. So right now we have some lights at the studio, and it's actually helping the camera have the best quality when it comes to like the recording. But it's also gonna help the, like, I don't know, the message being there, because the light is a very good source of light, okay? Good, let's move forward. Now let's talk about the setup. So here we have some ideas and some suggestions for you. So you need to place your camera above your eye line. This is your eye line. So just have the camera at a very nice elevation so that it's actually capturing your face right there. Then consider the space between the camera and the subject. It has to be very important that there needs to be enough space so that the frame looks good. Mind the sound in the room. So if you're already shooting by yourself, try to avoid having a fan on, or maybe your fridge, or maybe there is a construction happening outside your building. So try to consider like being in a dedicated space with no sound, so that those sounds are not going into the video itself. Again, position your microphone as close as you can. So here you can see that I have a microphone right here. But if you have a microphone, if you are using your iPhone's microphone, like microphone, yes, voice recorder, try to have it as in a very considerate space so that we can get the best quality possible. The next point is test before shooting. So after you have your setup in place, make some tests, record by yourself, and see if everything is working fine, if the audio is working fine, if the camera is actually recording everything, so that before going into the shooting, and before shooting like 3 or like, I don't know, 30 minutes, you don't find out later that nothing was recorded, so then you need to start again, all right? So test before shooting. So now we go next to the shooting section, which is, we have been talking about earlier in previous episodes about how important it is to have your script. So again, get your script ready, which is a written representation of how your video is gonna look like step by step. And yeah, this is actually a very important point, which is cheer yourself up. Because if you are the only person in your room, you need to show that you are happy, that everything is fine, and you don't want to be like in a very serious mood. You want the audience to get this amazing feeling from you. So put some music before, dance, or just move a little bit in the room. And yeah, it's all about showing your best attitude as possible. And while shooting, make sure that you are recording your camera, that you're recording your scenes 2 or 3 times, so that by the end you have 3 different options that you can choose from, okay? And this is gonna be very useful for you when you go to the editing part, that you have a variety of options out there. The last one, which is often overlooked, add BRoll. So what is BRoll? BRoll is a supplemental or alternative footage intercut with the main shot. So essentially, if you want to make a video about cooking, or a video about anything, make sure to have that additional footage that is going to add more value to the final edit. Okay, so take those maybe 10 or 20 different shots that once you have your final video, you can just gonna place them on the top of the video, and that's gonna make your video have more sense by the end. Okay, so these are just 5 hacks so that we would like to encourage you to go out, start filming yourself, create your videos, and yeah, it just takes one step at a time, right? So with this, let's go to our next segment, which is a music break, again with Julia Samokina from Ukraine, based in Mexico. And she's gonna be playing a very good song for us. So stay tuned, and I'll see you after this break. Whoa, how was that? How was that music break by Julia? Um, I think I'm a huge fan of Julia. I've been a huge fan since I met her back in 2017. Um, she's extraordinary, like very amazing, talented musician. And yeah, later on we will have the closing section with her as well. And if you think that's everything she's able to do, believe me, for the next episodes we have more surprises for you. Just stay tuned because the best is yet to come, I think. So thank you, Julia. Let's now move to, I think, my favorite section of the series of the episode, which is the moment where I bring in my special guest for every episode. So today we are having Adrian Dascãl. And Adrian and me met back in 2018. I've been using this photo for the last 3 episodes because it's crazy to see how a team of creatives that met back in 2018 it's 2 years from that moment, and there's a lot of people, extraordinary people, talented people that are doing amazing things with their lives. So here we are, Adrian and me, looking as young, and well, I think he was looking young. I cannot speak by myself, but for myself, but yeah. Here we were. The fun story about how we met. We met back in Egypt in this event. We were showcasing. We were creating the stories, the visual stories of this event. We met because we were staying in a hostel, and he arrived very late. And he had no clue how to get to the hostel. He had no clue where he was going to stay. So without knowing each other, he just wrote to me, and we were like, hey, I just need help to find where should I stay. So I think I had to wait for him like until 2 or 3 a.m. until he arrived. So yeah, it's just crazy how we just, like, people just get to know each other. And I'm very happy to have him join today for this episode. Just some facts about Adrian. I forgot to mention this, but he's bilingual. His first language is Hungarian, and his second language is Romanian. He currently lives in the heart of Romania, where most people are Hungarian, so 60 and 70%. So you can see a bit of why the tendency of his language. He's been doing 9 years of volunteering and 9 years of photography experience. He's been able to cover 95 events, including weddings, concerts, conferences. There's a lot of events under his belt. He's been 3 years of graphic design. I think I misread this one. And he started volunteering and photography at the age of 13. He was actually very young when he started this. He is a modest minimalist. He traveled to Argentina for 6 days, and I remember this story when he told me. He traveled for 6 days to Argentina with only a backpack. Yeah, I don't know how he does it, but. And one very curious thing is that he reached 40 million views? Yeah, he's saying yes. 40 million views. Whoa, that's crazy. 40 million views on Unsplash, you know, this platform where creatives just put their photos there. He reached 40 million views. 40 million views. Wow, in 1 year. Amazing. And he has been a freelancer officially for the past 465 days. So without further ado, Adrian, welcome to the show. How are you today? Are you there?
Yeah, I am. I'm here.
Amigo,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Things are fine.
Amazing.
Wow, 40 million views in one.
Yeah.
In your photos. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It happened out of curiosity, so just to see like maybe people will like my photos or not. But 1 year later, it just blew up.
So Adrian, I don't know why I'm hearing myself 2 times. I think it's just a Zoom call. It's fine. It should be a Zoom call, but it's fine. Adrian, it's so nice to have you here today joining. I was giving you some context of how we met, but also something that I forgot to mention, or I was going to mention as well was, so Adrian and me met back in the day, and we, at the end of this event, remember having this space, this meal at the end of the event, and we were just talking to each other, like after this crazy event with a lot of things happening, a lot of content produced. I was talking to Adrian about this idea. Hey, I've been working on this concept of like this business concept for almost a couple of years now. I still don't know how to build it, but I remember having a conversation. That first conversation, I had this idea of creating my own business, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm having that idea too. Like maybe in the future. So maybe in the future we can work together after we have founded our own businesses." And here we are. Here we are 2 years later, having a conversation about how these 2 years have been. So here you can see a photo of Adrian. He's having a backdrop and with his own business, a creative business that he just launched last year. So Adrian, tell me a bit of context around what are you doing right now and how has it been at this point for you?
It has been a journey like none other. Like, to be honest, as you said, like I started out of volunteering, just purely like, hey, we have a charitable event. Do you want to take photos? And I was like, yeah, sure. My dad had a camera, and I just took it and went with it. And a few years later, I invested in a better camera, then started going to events and so on and so forth. So it has been a very persistent experience. Let's say that it has been a gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. For sure.
Right now, I'm in a pretty good state. Let's say, like I managed somehow to keep my networking skills like to the level that it was before the pandemic, which is really good, and not many people can say that, hey, like I can survive this pandemic. And for that, I'm really grateful, because I personally am an introvert, so I don't really I'm usually behind the camera, not in front of the camera. So that's something. And a lot of people that know me from back then know that every time when I was on the stage, I couldn't talk even like 2 words I couldn't put together. So again, I try to expose myself as much as I can so that I can learn, adapt, and overcome. Whoever knows that reference is from Bear Grylls, then yeah.
That's great.
So happily, like I'm in a really good state. I have a lot of projects in the pipeline, like working from shootings, like photography shootings, to brandings that I've been creating in the past. And like I had like crazy, like one guy called me like, hey, I want to open a pizza, but I don't want to make a luxury pizza brand. I just want to make a funny brand. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do that. So right now we are posting memes on his socials, and we are straightforward with it. It has been great. The client is happy. I'm happy. The brand is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been quite a journey. I can see, and I mean, Adrian and me have been in touch for the last 2 years since we met. We've been following each other's journey. We've been supporting each other's journey. When I wanted to talk about how in this process of starting our business, there was like a lot of things happening in between. I got the chance to go to Canada to work for Isaac as the head of marketing, and I remember, and I'm gonna show like a short video here. Adrian and me, we were working on. I had this crazy idea. I want to build a campaign, and this is how much I trust his talent, because I asked him to, hey, I want to create a campaign that is visually appealing to the audience, and I really want it to be huge. So I remember having that conversation as well with Adrian, and he was a huge contributor to this amazing campaign that we ran. It went viral across the world, not just in Canada, but like around the world. And I remember the moment we launched it in an event, in a conference with, I think, 300 people. This shirt that you see with the logo, that was Adrian working with me for this campaign. And you were talking about how you've been working with some clients, with some people, some brands. I was actually one of those those let's say clients, or like people that you were working with, and I was very proud of what we achieved together. And if you haven't seen as well, we have as Showcasing Media, we made a refreshment on our brand just recently when we turned 1 year old. Here that you see Showcasing Media. So Adrian and me, I mean, I asked Adrian, hey, I want to refresh the brand. I want to refresh the visual side. I want to have it more structured, because I think it's a huge mess. And for a month, we had conversations every 3 days. He helped me a lot into how can I restructure the way I perceive my brand. And based on these conversations, again, Adrian helped me to reshape the way the visual identity could look like. So for that, I'm very grateful. So yes, Adrian and me have been working together for quite a long time. I trust him a lot, and that's why I really thought that because we've been in this journey together, I really wanted to have that conversation with him. So again, huge talent. So I really want to get more in depth into, because we've been talking about how to run your own creative business, how to kickstart your business. So Adrian, like, how's life has been so far as a business owner within this creative industry? So what can you tell me, more deeply about this?
Yeah. So when you start out, when let's say you're creating logos or photos or whatever you're trying to create, the first question is like, okay, where do I find the people to create it to, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe the clients, maybe the friends, maybe family members. I don't know. Anybody can start, really, and it depends on the persistence that you have over the thing. And once you legitimize your business, you really create it and you have the documentations and everything, then it becomes real and you feel the pressure of, okay, where can I find clients, and how can I serve them better? How can I make the work stand out, and also make the client feel satisfied for what he's paying or what he's getting, right? Mm-hmm. So those are the first really, really hard questions that you need to answer for yourself. And of course, for everybody is different. So whether you're a photographer, illustrator, or you're creating websites, for everyone is different a little bit, the process, but there are overarching similarities to it. So I think that's a pretty good thing to focus on.
Yeah.
And then to be honest, regarding clients and going on officially going out, right? Clients usually are 45, 50 years old, right? So they're not easily convinced that, hey, you are their right solution for their issues, for their not issues, but business problems, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to solve their business problems. And what I found out is that clients only hire people that trust, right? And know. So in that particular order, or and you have to become likable. That's one of the biggest bottlenecks as a creative, because usually creative people are introverts and they don't really like to get outside and get exposed. But I think it's really, really important for you as a creative to know a little bit more about yourself, know a bit more about what can you give to the people, whether that's businesses, organizations, or in any other form, to be honest. It's really, really important to be likable, and not fake likable, to the level of they can trust you as a friend, as a partner, right? So for example, when I finish a project with my client, I usually want to celebrate that project being finished with my client, right? So that I feel like I'm not just a service provider, a vendor. I'm actually a partner with them, right? So I go out with my clients, or have wine and beer and all that kind of stuff, to celebrate the victory that we finished this project, and this project had a success and a valuable success to it, right? So, but in order to get there, you first really need to get exposed and to start networking, because you may have the best portfolio created, you may have the best work, but if you don't show it to people, then the portfolio is not going to be very useful to you, right? So I think networking, it is one of the biggest things that you need to do for the start.
There's this line that you just mentioned, which is clients only hire people they know, like, and trust. And
Yeah.
I think that's huge, and I think that's something very important for someone starting. It's like we often tend to think that our problem is the service we provide, but really, I think the first thing, as you mentioned, like networking and building that connection and showing those potential clients that you are there, not for the money. I mean, money is important, but like you are there to support, to put your value there, and to help their business succeed. And I was mentioning this in a few episodes ago, like they need to see you as a business ally, and I think that's a very important thing. So I definitely see that you have been doing a lot into a huge work, an amazing work into building this connection with your clients, and I am a living proof of that, because I know that you, when you were helping into the rebranding process, I trust you enough to tell you everything that I needed to change, right? So
it's a very important part, because like the difference between like a creative, like a proper creative that is doing his job, and some freelancer from Fiverr. I'm not bashing the Fiverr or Upwork people. They're doing their job, and that is fine. But personally, I don't feel like I can get my value out to my clients and to the people who I want to serve, right? So who I want to solve their business problems from a visual perspective. So that being photography, videography. So
that's good.
Connecting with the clients in the way of, hey, I really want to help your business out. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. It's a attitude that I think it's going to pay off sooner or later, and you're going to see that in it of itself can be a value that you can provide for your clients.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I love this. Cool. So I have a different question for you. I always like to go back in time with my guests, and I want to ask you, what can you tell me about those early days when you were like starting your own business? Because I think there's people out there are curious, and maybe they can find some similarities from your experience. So how were those early days? What were you thinking of? But especially, what were the most common fears for you as an entrepreneur?
So I think the first fear that I had was regarding like the paperwork. I cannot talk for every creative and every entrepreneur,
Yes.
but like the paperwork, it's one of those things that like accounting, finances, and all that stuff, and having like properly like legal business, right? It's not that hard to do. Yes, it's a bit scratching your head kind of stuff, but it's really doable. And if you're a creative that is more focused on like being curious and finding out stuff, then if you get that mindset of curiosity, hey, how do you create a business? How do you legalize it? How do you run it? Then I'm sure that you can find a way through it. And whoever wants to start a business, just like you can text me, and I can help them out with some tips and tricks. Because hey, I went through it, and why not help other people get to that point? And another thing would be like, I didn't know how to focus properly. So I reached last year, like this time around in November, that I had around like 7 projects at the same time just running, and I was one-man army. So it was really difficult to like prioritize everything to be in time, to be properly made, and to be deliverable to the client. So I think learning to prioritize stuff and to be more disciplined was in it of itself a challenge for me, who like I say yes. I was a yes man. So everybody that came, hey, I want a flyer, I was doing it. You want a logo? Okay, I'm going to do it. You want a photo shoot? Let's do it all of that in one day. It's not You can do it, but you will hit really fast the bottom line of becoming a burnout, right? So you will get burnout, and it's not a pleasant place, because if you lose, for example, one night, you need 2 nights or 3 nights to recover in sleep. So sleep and being relaxed and being chill and having things prioritized and organized, it's really important for your peace of mind first and foremost. Second of all, mental health and your health, your well-being. And so I think those are really, really important things.
You, Adrian. So, can you identify some other mistakes that you made as a founder or entrepreneur slash entrepreneur, and how did this end up becoming learnings for you? So you were mentioning
So I
something.
think uh, one other thing that it's really important is to review your own work, because usually, like in the first, I remember first 2 projects, I was like, I delivered the project, the client paid me, and it was like done deal. I forgot about that project, or like I was just including it in my portfolio. But soon I realized that I was doing the same mistakes over and over again, and it felt like deja vu, like, hey, I'm in this situation, but I don't know how to solve it. So what I did was that I took a friend who we talk about like this kind of stuff, and I was like, hey, I did this project. This is how it was. What do you think? And from the outside perspective, I managed to realize some of the like core like mistakes that I was doing that I wasn't realizing to do. I didn't realize that I was doing,
Yeah.
and it helped me a lot to uh, let's say simplify or polish up my process on creating a logo, creating a photography shooting, creating like all these things, and also to be attentive to the client, be attentive to their needs, find their needs, and solve them in a clear, fashionable way. Right? So I think this was another like huge thing of reviewing every project that you did from start to finish,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
So then, from what I'm getting out from your answer is, first, don't underestimate admin. First,
Yeah.
focus is key. Don't say yes to everything. Really focus, because it's important for you to deliver the best work and not burn out. And cut your ego, and you need to ask for feedback. So whether it's feedback from your clients or feedback from people from the same industry, those are things that you should do early in the days when you are getting started. So
Yeah, but I think it's a process that you need to do all the time, because the process is always like uh, coming better and better and more efficient. And yeah, if the client is the one that is giving you the feedback, that is better, because you're coming directly from the source, directly from the other side of the table. So I think
yeah,
that's really important.
interesting. Yeah, I think I can connect a lot to that for sure. I'm also a yes man. I used to be a yes man, and Jorge is like, yes. I'm a yes man, and I'm learning a lot from these points, because I think, especially when you're starting, you are very hungry for like eating the world. You wanna grow, and you wanna like make an impact, and you really wanna become better every time, and you know that every project is making you better at some point. But that doesn't necessarily mean or translate into like high quality work, and then it can often expose the fact that you are not focusing enough and delivering your best, your best, no? So I think this is a very important a key point, especially nowadays that there's a lot of projects coming in. So I will take that into consideration for future. Thank you, Adrian. So next question, I wanna know from your experience, and it's been already some time, 465 days, as you mentioned, since you started.
I think it's around like 1.5 years or something like that.
Yeah. So I want you to tell the audience, what are the things based on your experience that are often overlooked when starting up a business, especially within the creative industry. So people can take note and say, like, okay, I need to pay attention into these things.
Yeah, I think as a creative, like I can mostly talk about like on the creative business, but I think for any business, like to have rock solid contract, to have your finances on check, to have your process of every product that you're delivering, right? To be there. On the contract side, it happened to me that I wasn't taken serious by clients because I didn't have a proper contract set in place, because the contract is both like is a security measure, let's say, or like something that protects you and protects the client at the same time. So for example, on the photography side, when you're finishing shooting, you have to trade your copyright, right? Your right to have that intellectual property to the client. So if you don't have that, the clients will ask like, hey, I want to own these photos. What does that entail? And you can have a lot of options on the table, but I think it's really, really important to have a contract that is stable. On the other side, to have the finances, like these are things that us creatives, we don't really pay attention, but they are like really, really important. And you don't have to know quantum physics in finance or something like that, like some craziness. But finances are like on the basic level. Hey, how much do I spend? How much do I earn? What can I expect from next year? That's all really what you need for the beginning. And to know how to price yourself, that's another thing. And all of these things are involved. The process itself, like if you know what it does entail for you to create a logo, how many hours does it take, in what process do you take your clients through, it's going to make a huge difference when you already know what is next and your clients are following you. And lastly, like you can have your finances, you can have your contract, but if you don't have your networking done right, like if you don't go out and get to know people and start to figure out what their needs are, you will not have anybody to sign your contract. You will not have your finances updated every month or every year, and so on. So networking, I think, is one of the most important things. And you showed the picture before of me standing in front of my banner and stuff. I was at a business conference. I was the only creative there. Like it was surprising that I didn't see any other creative there, in a room full of business people. So people that had like restaurants, factories, whatever. I was the only young guy who was there talking with them, and they were like, what is happening? So basically I was the black sheep of the whole place, and I managed to, by mistake, but now I know, that because I was the only person there, I was the only supplier of that service, let's say. So I was the only photographer, only graphic designer. So soon people were like, but I need a logo, but I need a site, but I need this and that. And can you do this? And you start talking with people because you are the only one there. And usually at the business conferences or business events, not many creative people are there. And it has been one year since I've been part of a business club, and it has never been more fruitful for my business and for my own networking skills, let's say, because every week we have one meeting and we meet, we talk, and it's constantly improving myself and starting to adapt a extrovert attitude, but not fully, because hey, I'm an introvert, I cannot really really do that. But it's really important to have like the networking put in place, and you can start just as small as to just like go out with your friends and start talking about what you're doing, and then applying that to maybe people who you think you need your services.
There is one person that is really enjoying this conversation right now. I don't know about the audience, but I can only see Jorge backstage. He's like he's dealing with all these things. And he's like, as he's listening to you, he's like, and I mean,
well, I'm glad. Like Jorge, if you want to have a call after this, like sure thing. Like can talk about these hours.
you know what happens is we've been going through the same like these points that you're mentioning. I can recall conversation that I have with Jorge here at the office, at the studio, about these specific things. Hey, what our process look like really? Because we do a lot of things, but we haven't really established like full process on the things that we are doing. Finances, of course, contracts, of course, networking, of course. So definitely Jorge is really enjoying what he's listening. I don't know the audience, by the way. If you have any questions, there's going to be a space for questions for Adrian at the end. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, this is a moment for you to write down your question, and then Danny and Anapa bring them to me. But wow, these are very good points. That these are the things that it's very difficult to find, like on YouTube, or like you really wanna hear from people that have gone through this. So I think that's why Adrian is a very clear example of the things that you have to go through when starting up your business. So write your questions. Let us know what you think. So, is there anything else you want to add for that?
Yeah, I think like if you're a creative that just want to start this whole thing, I think it's a lot to take in. Definitely, yes. It's really a lot to take in, but you can take it like step by step. You don't have to have your contracts ready in the first week. You don't have to have your finances ready in the first week. You can create, just as I said, like prioritizing stuff. You can have like, hey, 2 weeks I'm focusing on this, 2 weeks I'm focusing on that, and in time you will reach to that point.
Interesting, very good point. Okay, so now this is your space to talk about Dascal Visual. So what are you doing with this creative agency, and how do you see yourself in the next, say, 5-10 years? What are the next steps for you and your business? I'm gonna be showing a video of your website, which I think it's beautiful. Okay. You just launched it as well, but tell me more about it.
Thank you. So yeah, so right now it's all about like surviving the pandemic and surviving it in a healthy way, right? So to have like a constant stream of income, to have projects that I enjoy doing, and also like to have the process of itself, like to not feel that I'm struggling. And it has been like these last 2 months has been amazing. In June and July, I've been sending out like offers and trying to pitch projects and trying to get something tangible on the table, and didn't manage to have it because like everybody was like, it's amazing, we like it, but we don't have a budget. So that was a very like not very nicely taken. But September, October, suddenly like people were like, okay, enough waiting, we have to do some stuff, and the phone just started ringing because like I did that first step of connecting with people. I did the first steps of sending a proposal, sending a question like, hey, do you need this? Because I see that your site is not that good, you know. So I try to like go out and, let's say, really like getting out of my way to help people out. And in return, some of the projects actually got into reality and got made, which nice. makes me happy because I can help people out, I can help businesses out, and also I can make a living out of it. And for me, that is like literally the dream. The second thing would be maybe hiring people in the future. I don't know. It's it's a thing on the table that I'm thinking like, hey, it would be nice to have a full grown agency, but still I haven't reached that point yet. Maybe in a few years, sure, but right now it's a nice thing to have. It's not a must. And I think something that I really strive for every day is to reach higher level clients, and most importantly, to reach bigger problems, because in today's world, the bigger the problem that you can solve, the higher the paycheck is, the higher the quality of the project that you can do. So I think when somebody comes with me like, hey, I have this problem, and I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. I don't know how it works. I have some experience. Let's up the game. So that's my approach when clients come to me like, hey, I want to launch a pizzeria and do social media. Let's do it in 2 weeks. We want to reach this goal. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's see how it works. I cannot promise you, but I will do my best. To the best of my abilities, I can deliver that. So, yeah.
Well, that's very good. Good luck. Good luck. I'm
Thank you.
I don't doubt that this is going to happen at some point, because I really see that you are growing a lot, and definitely if you want to reach out to Adrian, I definitely recommend him, Dascal Visual, social media, anything. But we'll go to that later. So I want to know now, as this is the last question that I have for you, um, what would be Adrian's best piece of advice for people who want to start their own creative business?
Persistence, dude. Like in my opinion, persistence is the only thing. Persistence and curiosity. I think these are the two big things, and persistence is the first one because that's the easiest to just lose on the way. Because I know a lot of friends who want to become a photographer, who want to become photographers. I know a lot of friends who have started their own freelancing paths and careers, and a lot of them they didn't even get to a next level or like the first three steps of building that career, and they just like, I don't need this, I quit this. Maybe for them it wasn't the place, but for a lot of people, persistence is the key for it, like to go out, hustle it, and not the hustle culture, but work for that goal. Like create yourself a goal that you want to achieve, right? So for example, I want to help businesses uh, complete their business goals and problems to be solved, right? And I want to do it in a way that I would be honored and be happy to showcase it in my portfolio. So that is my why behind it, of what I'm doing in
Mm.
a big way. You can read more about it on my website, but this is the core of it. And I try to apply it for every client, every project that it comes, and it has been persistently being better and better. And as I mentioned, curiosity, I love curiosity. Like if I find a subject that I'm really interested, I can research it like, till 5 a.m. and find a solution for it, or find a better like version of that. So that's how for me it has been, because I know how to do logos, and to create a logo in Illustrator on whatever software, it's easy to do. You can do it in 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. That's not a problem. But to know the the strategy behind it, to know like, okay, if I put this color, it's going to mean this for this company, or if I do this shape or this composition, what does that entail? So the process itself, it got me really curious. So I got myself the design process and the delivery are the last things, and those are
Yeah.
the minor things. But the bigger picture of it is the first part, doing the research, doing, let's see if this is something that it's like, what are the visual styles that the company wants to adopt, and so on, or the client, or like whoever wants the logo. And just full on curiosity, like I want to find out this, I want to find out that. 2 weeks ago, I got called. I got a call from a client who wanted to took some shots in a factory, in a glass factory. And I was like, glass factory, creativity, like it's a factory. What should I do there? And I went there with the mindset that, hey, I want to know more about this industry and how they work, how window glasses are made and stuff like that. So I went with the client together, hand in hand, in quotes, and explored exactly how a machine like that can produce those final products. So I took the pictures. I had a
Mm.
photo shooting for the factory, and the photos came out really amazing because it was from a perspective of curiosity. Like,
Mm.
how does this work? And I managed to put creativity to something really technical on how to create like glass. Like that's a very technical thing. But I managed to like make that experience something enjoyable for me and for the client. Like, hey, they wanted just some photos for their website, and I created like a huge catalog of pictures for them so that they can use it for not only website but marketing materials and so on. At the end, the client was happy that, hey, this guy is really curious about something that I do, and felt like I was partnering with him rather than just hiring a random photographer to do the job. And the last thing, and I'm not going to talk because the thing I'm talking about, I'm kidding, is not to be too hard on yourself. So when you finish a logo and it's not up to your standards, that is fine. I myself think that I am a perfectionist in the sense that I would want to spend a lot of time with one design or with one photo, but a lot of time that's uh, not achievable. Let's say you cannot really achieve it. But what you can do is to practice as much as you can. So if you practice it like 100 times, at the end you will be much more suitable, or you will know exactly how to deliver that almost perfect product. And it's a very interesting thing. And this was a interesting study. I don't really know who made the study, but they put 100 creatives to create an artwork. 50 of them had one artwork to be made for in 100 days, and the rest had 100 days to create every day one artwork.
Ooh.
And the funny thing that happened was the people that had every day the task to create one piece of content, at the end they created so much more and so much better content than the guys who had 100 days to create one, because they didn't have that practice behind it. They didn't have the knowledge that every time you finished one project you learn something. So that is something that is really important, and I hope that the idea of not being too hard on yourself, being curious and being persistent is key for you to become a better creative or better like person in whatever you're trying to do.
Wow, I'm taking notes right here. I find that story very interesting for sure. Wow, it really hits somewhere in my head. But also the point about curiosity, like you would not expect to get creative, like you would not expect to find a factory as a best place to really be creative, no? And the fact that you managed to find that angle, you made it interesting for yourself. You made it a challenge for yourself as a creator, and then of course your client he's gonna love it, because you actually took the time to get to know the place, to find the angles, and that's what makes a creative unique, because we are always finding different angles to portray something.
Like as an insight for that specific project, I was like just as a kid who asked like, okay, Dad, what is this button doing, or what is this machine doing, and like asking the questions. And in the middle of the shooting, the client was like, finally somebody from outside that understands what we are doing, because at some point the questions became like so much more deeper about like, okay, is this something that is doing this angle? And the client was like, how do you know? And I'm like, I just deduced it because I'm a curious person, you know. So
oh my God, that's so good. Adrian, thank you very much. I just have here, unfortunately we don't have time for questions, but for people out there that want to find more about Adrian, here is his picture when he was a bit younger than he is right now.
Oh yeah, that picture. Oh my God.
His website, Adrian Dascãl, no, Dascal Visual, dascalv.com. You can find him on LinkedIn as well, on Instagram, both his personal profile with amazing pictures and his company social media, Dascal Visual. Just type that in and you'll find it as a first result. Adrian, it's been a wonderful conversation. It really reminded me a lot of the process we've been through here at Showcaser Media. I know there's going to be a lot of people that will benefit from this conversation, and hopefully we are going to be able to inspire someone out there who is on that age. Should I apply for that job? Should I start my own business? I think I have something to offer to the world, but I don't know how to get started to build my own business.
Exactly.
And that's the way we both of us started. We started with that conversation, and hopefully this episode is gonna hit.
Hopefully someday someone, maybe now, maybe tomorrow, somebody will listen to this and will be like, okay, this is very interesting. How can I start mine? And to see it from their own perspective on their problem. And I hope I can help people out, like through this show and through everything that I do. So I'm really happy to be on your show, and you guys are amazing on creating it.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Please reach out to Adrian if, in case you want to follow the conversation. He's always going to be helping people out. Adrian, thank you very much. And with this, I will move to the next section. Thank you very much again. So,
enjoy your day.
Thank you. So we are moving to the last segments of this show. I'm going to take this off. Oh my God, that was actually really, really good conversation. I'm very impressed to the things that you can learn from one conversation, of course. I have some takeaways from this episode I want you to to bring and to take away from this episode as well. So the first takeaway is I'm taking it from the chapter 6 of retrospective, our documentary. Ideas are worthless without execution. So if you have an idea and you are very convinced that this idea is gonna work, just go for it, do it, and keep trying. Even if the first time it doesn't work out, you have that idea and you are convinced, so it's gonna work at some point. So go for it. Now, you don't need to be a video expert to shoot your first video. We just had a space where we encourage you to just take some tools and start recording yourself, and then just go edit your first video. We really want to encourage you to make your first video by yourself. From the conversation with Adrian, so yes, sometimes your next big idea can come from the most random conversation. So having that conversation back in that moment in Egypt with Adrian encouraged, I think, both of us to keep moving forward and really start our own businesses. So yes, keep having those conversations. This is something I really enjoyed from Adrian's conversation. He said, clients hire people they trust, know, and like. So go out, start building those connections with your potential clients, have them find you, have them get to know who you are, what you're offering, and then once you build a connection, it's gonna be easier for you to get those first clients coming. And the last point is, don't overlook the small stuff. And I'm putting this as like the small stuff when talking about the contracts, the admin side of creating a business. You can have a very interesting concept that you want to build, and a service you want to provide. But in order for this to be a reality, you need to do the hard work first, the paperwork, the contracts, the finance, the structure of your business. Like, this is the small stuff that often gets overlooked. All right, so don't overlook, and then go for it. Start from that. So thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate all the time that you're spending here with us. Definitely, we're almost over with episode number 6. We are 3 episodes away from the end of the first season of Lights, Camera, On Air, and I can't thank enough to the people that have helped me to really make this dream a reality. So I would like to thank Jorge, which is right backstage, Master Control. Really, thank you very much, Jorge, for all the work that you've been doing. He's saying goodbye to the people. I think today's episode was actually really good. And yeah, for the other 2 people that are helping us, Danny and Pau, amazing work that they have been doing for us. Again, following up on social media. And yeah, just as a thank you as well, I wanna invite you to our next episode next Wednesday. We'll be soon releasing some details on who our guests, who know, are gonna be. But definitely, I'm also very hyped. I'm very excited about that episode for sure. So stay tuned. We'll be releasing the details very soon. And yeah, I'll see you next week. I'll leave you now with the closing segment of this episode with Julia Samokina. Again, as a goodbye space. So thank you. See you next week on this, your favorite show, Lights, Camera, On Air. So with this, we are saying goodbye. Take care, and thank you very much for joining us.